Good evening and welcome. I'd like to invite you on a process of distilling a plant this evening in celebration of this powerful new moon in Scorpio that is coming up on the 15th. Today is the 13th of November 2020, and I chose today to do the distillation to give us a chance to get ready to celebrate this new moon, this dark time. And the 13th being a profound day, a celebration day for the goddess. As I'm distilling Dandelion today, and it feels very much as a feminine wisdom plant. So I wanted to take you on a little tour before we get going of what a distillation is. So a distillation is taking plant like this and putting it into a distiller. I have a very old, ancient version of a distiller, a copper embellic distiller, where hot water or water goes into this bottom part of the chamber, which gets heated and boiled. And in this vat, in the section in the middle here, is where the plant matter goes. There's a screen at the bottom that stops the plant from falling into the water, so it's separated. And then there's this gorgeous onion dome on the top that brings it down into a cooling vessel on the side here, which I can just pull out so you can see. And the cooling vessel has got a coil inside of it that cools what comes forward. So what happens is we put the water in the bottom of the chamber. I'm going to do this right now so you can see it. We take the plant material that we're going to distill, and this time around, as I said, I'm going to distill Dandelion. So you put some of the Dandelion inside of here. The objective is not to overfill the chamber. Space is a really required thing in here. Some sacred space. Today I decided to have a few things join this distillation, particularly because I'm doing it for a celebration of the new moon. So one of the things that I'm putting it in it is a piece of rock from the Precambrian Shield, so a really grounded piece of North America, which I think we need right now. We need a real sense of grounding. And I also chose to put a crystal in for some illumination in the dark. And then I chose a dark stone. I often put in a moon stone when I'm doing a full moon, but I thought with the darkness of this moon that a dark rock would hold that energy. So that's going in here as well. And I'm going to keep it pretty simple this time. Then you secure the onion dome to the top, and you link these two pieces together. And what happens, the water heats up in here. I'll turn it on. Heats up in here, and it boils just like water does on your stove, and it creates a vapor, a steam, and that steam heats up the plant material and the other grounding pieces that I have in there. And when it heats up, all that wisdom and sense of the plant gets gathered into that steam and vapor, and it comes up into the onion dome in a swirling motion, and then it gets driven because of the heat of it into this copper piping down into this cooling vessel, and then it comes out through a hose, which is over here, and it goes out the bottom into a vessel, a glass vessel that we can save for later, and I can show to you when we get to that point. So right now we're just going to let this quietly do its work while I share with you some of my thoughts in particular of this moon. Perhaps right now a good place to start is to call in the directions. I have a beautiful poem here that was written by Alberto Villoldo, which calls in the sacred directions, which I am going to sit back and share with you right now while you have a chance to just watch quietly with this distiller. I'll move it a little closer so you can just get the feeling of all that copper and the light. I've put a candle here to help illuminate our path. And just sit back and enjoy this like a quiet reflection in nature. So please, an invocation for opening sacred space to the winds of the south, great serpent, Wrap your coils of light around us. Teach us to shed the past the way you shed your skin, to walk softly on the earth. Teach us the beauty way. To the winds of the west, Mother Jaguar, protect our medicine space. Teach us the ways of peace to live impeccably. Show us the way beyond death. To the winds of the north, Hummingbird, grandmothers and grandfathers, ancient ones, come and warm your hands by our fires. Whisper to us in the wind, we honor you who have come before us, and you who will come after us as our children's children. To the winds of the east, great eagle, condor, come to us from the place of the rising sun. Keep us under your wing. Show us the mountains we only dare to dream of. Teach us to fly wing to wing with the Great Spirit, Mother Earth. Peace be with us. I think the next thing I want to share with you as we're resting together and watching this beautiful quiet process take place, you can see the illumination of the heat from the bottom, is why dandelion and why now? Dandelion is something that I've recently begun to see as the unwanted, the discarded, and in all actuality, the vilified. I see her as the unwanted healer. And it's making itself known to us now. We're starting to hear things about dandelion, about its possible healing capabilities. And it's a big shift to take this thing that we've been trying to trounce out and get rid of and try and find that it has a place to flow with us. In this time right now in the world where so much of that is true, with things that we didn't think that we'd be able to do and that we didn't think we'd want to accept, and we're learning ways through this. So the unwanted healer has made itself known now so strongly. In addition to that, it's strongly now at the time of Scorpio. This is a new moon in Scorpio on 11/15 of 2020. And Scorpio is a ruler of shadows, of going deep. When Scorpio is exalted, it leads the charge, bravely moving through the shadow, learning what is held in the muck and seeing a path to rise, but taking the lesson. This is an invitation to use our discernment to set ourselves free. So what better time for dandelion to rise as a helper than right now? Clearly bringing the message that plants are helpers in ways that we're just opening to learn and accept. I hope that by allowing what I hear, sense, and feel from plants as an offering to you and to others, that I can connect and feel the support of the global healing matrix of nature and share that wisdom with you. This is getting quite hot now, so we're getting close to the point of actually, there's a little thermostat here that tells us we're getting close to the point of when dandelion will first distill itself. It's getting very close. Some moisture coming. And we'll start to feel her and feel her energy momentarily. I wanted to take a moment. I was going through my poetry today and I found a poem that I wrote in 2015. I sort of just put it to the side. Today I looked at it and I realized that it was really fitting of now. So I thought I'd share this with you. chaos to creation. Step into this chosen time, this sacred time, this time of upheaval, this time of change. We chose this with love, with guidance. We came now on purpose, with passion. We are the unweavers. We are the breakers. We are the questioners. We learn how to pause because we have been given no space. We see how to look within, deep within, to listen, to pause, to smell what is rotten, what needs to be released, to feel new smells of new. So new it is yet unknown, as it has never been seen before. We are creators. We are weavers. We are the enders and beginners. We are the infinite. We are the one. Thank you. Dandelion is now coming down this tube, and it's collecting in this vessel. Oh, wow. Okay, you know, the interesting thing about a distillation is it often doesn't smell how we think it might smell. I don't know how I thought a dandelion would smell. I eat dandelion leaves. They're really good for you. They're very bitter. Bitter is a very healing thing for the body. And I certainly know what they smell like when I'm pulling them out of the ground. I find them fascinating because they have such a massive, massive root network, and I actually look forward to doing a distillation when we're back into warm weather here and distilling the root of the plant, like the whole plant, and walking into the whole matrix. It's very deep. Oh, I feel like you just want to fall into it. There's a wisdom that comes when we're with a live distillation like this. Like the wisdom of the plant is flowing out and collecting in the vessel. And what we have found by working with it, that you don't actually have to be here in order to step into the energy of the plant. That you can witness it like this, or we can send out tiny little vials of it, like a homeopathic remedy. And it's not something that you would drink or even put on your body, but just even holding it in your hand allows you to step into its matrix and hear its wisdom. I'm finding that this plant is rising the beautiful truth that you are beauty, that we are all beauty. And that's a path that's been lost to us. It's become commercialized and quantified and not part of universal flow. And I'd like us to consider beauty as a core value, as something that is inherent and is the essence of each and every one of us. Just because we are who we are, and just because we are here, just simply existing, and that is truly, truly enough. And no matter how we try to get pushed out or twisted or cast aside, that we're still here and our essence is still important. Think about dandelion and how many ways we try to push it out and to get rid of it and call it ugly. And yet, for anybody that's been around children, like one of the very first things that a child picks and brings to someone they care about is dandelions. These bright yellow flowers, so full of hope, and they come so early in the spring. Animals know that the plant is so healthy to eat, and it's nutritious. And in the colder times, they can dig up the roots, and the wisdom of that plant is held in that root. So it comes again and again and again, kind of like we do. No matter how we get pushed and we get cast aside, there's just this deep-rooted aspect of us that keeps coming up to the surface, rising again. That's the wisdom of Scorpio that's coming through here too. I'm doing this in a dim room tonight to get the feeling of the darkness of the new moon, so that we can go on this journey of what it's like to come from the dark. I'd like to thank Scorpio, and I'd like to thank the moon, and most especially the beauty of Dandelion. I drew a beautiful card today from a Rumi deck that I have, a set of cards by Alana Fairchild, and I'd like to read you parts of this card because I think the message was tied to tonight. The Dance of the Divine Feminine is the card. I'll hold that up for you to see. It's beautiful. Let's start with the poem from Rumi. If a tree could move from one place to another, it would not suffer the pain of the saw or the oppressive wounds. If the sun and the moon stood still like the rocks, they could not offer brilliance. How bitter the taste of water would be if the river stopped its flow, remaining still like the seawater. When the seawater rises to become a cloud, it loses its bitterness and pours the rains of sweetness. I have given you only a few examples. You can figure out the rest, break away from the self, and enter the kingdom of love. Rumi. How can your feet bear to be still when the music of the lush is so inviting? How can you hold yourself back from the tides of love when the horizon looms as so vast and exciting? How can you not arc your back and respond with ecstasy to the lover's touch, saying in absolute submission, yes, more. You were made to move and grow, to love and flow. Even mountains change. Surrender the stodgy ways of the mind and become willing to dance to the great orchestration of love. I'd like to thank you for joining me this evening and stepping into a world of the healing matrix of nature and learning how there's this whole galaxy of plants and trees and rocks that we haven't even begun to speak to. An exploration of ourselves and an exploration of this planet that we share. So until next time, I thank you and wish you good evening.